Hey, welcome back to the Movie Club with Friends. Another week, another movie, another kind of okay review.
We're definitely not qualified people. So.
Yeah. This week was The Prestige. It's 2006.
Prestige.
What, Jeff?
Nothing. Go ahead.
2006 movie. It is the twin brother of The Illusionist that's more attractive, skilled, and just better in every way. Like the movie. Yeah, it's like the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. The Prestige
Okay,
is...
it's nothing like that.
The Prestige is...
better in every way.
No, the Prestige is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, so this was a Gabe pick, so we'll let Gabe go first. Why'd you pick it, and what'd you think?
So I was going to pick a scarier movie, but those plans kind of fell apart, and this has always been one of my backups because I've only recently seen the movie maybe under a year ago, and instantly became one of my favorites. And obviously this is a magic movie, and I don't typically, I guess, search out those types of movies, but I just really wanted to have everybody, if anybody had seen this, I just wanted to pick this one for everybody because I thought it was great. So going into, I guess I'll give my rating, which I'm going to set the bar really high because after watching it a second time, I further encased my love for this movie. So for me, this is a 10 out of 10. Loved.
Wow.
And I'm being kind of liberal with that, but it's seriously becoming one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
Because typically when I go into a movie, I want to be surprised. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I don't like trailers. Mostly because they have spoilers. And I like to...
Gabe.
I go to the movies to mostly just be entertained and surprised.
Gabe.
I think you have the wrong wife for this, though. Because she loves trailers.
She does love trailers, so...
Gabe hates spoilers, and he will defriend you if you give away spoilers.
Yeah, like Mike did on this movie to somebody. So I won't go into too much detail because I'll kind of chime in here and there, and I want everybody to be able to maybe talk about something unique and not have everybody take up every single aspect of the movie. But overall, I just like how the movie... I guess I just like most part... I can't, I guess, narrow in on one right now, but the movie is essentially two people that really get consumed by their profession and all the bad things that come about on that. And, they have surprises at the end, and it was just amazing how everything flowed. And I guess one of the big things, and I'm sure there'll be small things that you guys maybe picked up on that I might have been blind to. But when we talk about a movie breaking rules, I hardly saw any of that in this movie, and that also is another reason why I love it. I know, and we can talk about the whole magic part of it, but that it kind of sets its own rules as far as how that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. You got making a dumb joke.
I was just gonna say, the movie kind of set its own rule as far as how the cloning worked, and also kind of the movie wasn't really, I guess, solely about that. That was probably just an aspect of it. And I think if they did harbor any more time on that, it would probably have detracted from some of the other cooler elements of the movie. But just in general, I'm kind of just rambling here, but I'll let somebody else talk to some specific parts, and I'll heed my time then.
Okay, so I'll go, and I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10, and I loved it. I saw this movie when it came out for DVD, and I wasn't... So back then, I really didn't like movies with accents, because it was hard to understand. So I ended up just kind of... Yeah, I don't know. And also something else kind of got in the way of watching it. So I only kind of half saw this movie. So I kind of just think of it. I just saw it for the first time yesterday, and I really, really enjoyed it. So in my notes, I have things written. And the first thing is my hilarious joke that it's Batman versus Wolverine versus the Black Widow.
Versus, please. That's stretching it.
It's like a Marvel movie, right, or whatever.
Versus Alfred.
Yeah, right.
There
Like,
you go.
yeah, it's such a huge cast. First of all, maybe they weren't all as big as they are now back then, but holy shit! Like, there's just so many big names in this movie. Okay, so let's just get into this. So at the end of it, and I guess the overall theme of the movie is sacrifice, and when at the very end, when I'll just, like, Christian Bale shoots Hugh Jackman, and Christian Bale's like, "Oh, you didn't give any sacrifice." I was like I guess not in the way that, like, Christian Bale did. I guess what they're getting at is they both sacrifice different things in their life to, like, get where they were, and, like, they both just went, like, different routes. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining that well.
I don't think I'm getting what you're saying.
It's just that they both sacrificed a lot for their job, for their passion, but they
had different types of sacrifice.
Different types of sacrifice that both of them just didn't see. They're both very similar in ways, but in other ways they're just completely different, and they just can't see that in each other.
Which one do you think sacrificed more?
Okay.
One leading half a life, or the other one killing himself every single time, but yet still living on?
Well, I'll get into that.
This is one of the movies too. Like, man, I really do think we should put a disclaimer, because I think that if anyone listens to this podcast, I think if you know the ending before you watch the movie, it's less impactful.
I'll
for
I'll
sure.
put it in the titles.
Yeah, like, seriously, like, I would not recommend watching this movie if you hear a spoiler of it. Like, this is one of the ones that really matter, I think.
So the second note I have is ScarJo, super hot. She looks really good in this movie.
She had to have been, like, the worst character in the whole movie for me,
I
though.
had a joke. Halfway through the movie, I thought to myself, "Thank God for 19th century push-up bras."
So yeah, the main thing about this movie that I think it does really well is it has two main characters that it concentrates on both really well, and it tells you as much as you need for them both, for, like, there not to be spoilers at the ending or whatever. I really like...
Mind if I chime in real quick, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the first time you watch the movie, I guess you're correct. There's two main characters, and the movie's telling you about and showing you. But multiple viewings I've had, since it's one of my favorite movies, there's actually three characters, because you really start to notice the different Christian Bales and start picking out which one is which in each different scene.
For sure.
Wow. Good point. I like how, like, in a point of the movie, right, or most of it, it's so Christian Bale is reading a journal about Hugh Jackman reading a journal, right? Like,
Yeah, I was confused for like 3/4 of the movie, and then I understood what was actually, like, how the story was being told.
yeah. And so the last thing I want to talk about, how Christian Bale's most amazing trick wasn't the disappearing man or the teleporting man. It was having this double and living this half life and them sharing their life and being essentially one person. So I thought that was just really fucking cool, because when you're watching it, you just figure that his most amazing trick is the teleporting man, but it's not. It's this. So I don't know how I'm just finding it hard to articulate more about this movie. It's just really well done.
I mean, I think this movie is like it's a webby meshwork of magic and mystery, and I think because it is hard to understand for the first time you watch this movie, like in an amazing, fantastic way. I think it's actually kind of hard to describe like your emotions or your feelings towards it, because. But at the end of the day, like I think they did such a good job. But I understand why it's difficult for you, because I spent a lot of time thinking about how I was going to describe what I liked about the movie, because it's kind of complicated.
Yeah, I will say, like, to answer your question, Johnny, I will say that Christian Bale definitely sacrificed more. I think Hugh Jackman kind of just went at the flashier, more payoffier, quicker payoff route, where Christian Bale took the long trip, or whatever. My cat's scratching.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd say that while Hugh Jackman's did involve him dying a lot, technically, seeing as the one that survived never really experienced that in actuality, it didn't really feel like the last one at the end was truly the one sacrificing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really explains it good enough, but his always felt a little bit like cheating.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was trying to get off. Also, it was like... So, I in my notes I have Alfred was working for both of them, but I'm pretty sure
that's what I was
Alfred...
going to touch on.
Yeah, Alfred just was working for Christian Bale the whole time.
I don't think so, no.
First of all, we need to call him like Michael Caine or something, because Alfred was an actual name of a character in this movie.
Oh, right, sorry.
His name in the movie is Cutter.
Cutter, yes.
Okay.
No, basically he hated Christian Bale the entire movie, because he basically cost him his entire job. It's just that at the very end, when he realized exactly what Hugh Jackman's character was, it starts with an A.
Angier,
I think, yeah. Exactly what he had done. At that point, he got disgusted with him, and he liked Christian Bale again, I guess.
Like, wizards are all terrible people.
I thought it was whenever they had the scene where he was trying to buy the machine from Mr. Caldro, and then that guy said, "Oh, but maybe you guys will meet." And I think it started to click there. Maybe it was before that, but that's when I think Cutter kind of realized what was going on, or started to look into it, I guess.
Yeah. I'll just the last.
Sorry, that's like my big. That was like my big, like, what I wanted to ask you guys, why you think Cutter betrayed Angier in the end, because I think his motivations are never really detailed in the film, either at the end or even during the trial.
Did he really betray him though, or did he just not stop Christian Bale at the end?
I think it kind of shows that he betrayed him, though. Especially at the end of this movie, when you see Borden and Cutter, they cross paths, right before he's about to kill Angier. Cutter could have stopped him. You know what I mean? And he didn't. And he knew. And I think, I'm not saying what Cutter did was bad, by the way, because at the end of the day, these two characters are the most unlikable characters, unlikable lead characters ever. They are terrible people. And it's funny, Jeff, I was thinking, I don't know why I was remembering this, but the first time I watched this movie reminded me of No Escape, and I love Hugh Jackman so inherently, and just I have this picture of him, just I had that picture of Owen Wilson, for a while, it's hard for you to separate those characters, the actor and how likable he is and who he's playing in that film, because I think I inherently like the first time I watched this movie I was like, oh, Hugh Jackman's character is definitely like Christian Bale is definitely not, like he's not as good as Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's gonna be like the winner in the end of this movie, and then the second time I watched it,
that's what they portray to you the entire time.
I don't think they do it the entire time, because I actually, so after watching this movie a second time, I'm actually, Jared, I want to see if you agree with me. Like, Angier is kind of a dick, like, even in the very beginning of the movie, almost. Like, so, like, he has, like, faults that happen way sooner that I think that because it was the first time I watched it and because of my feelings towards Hugh Jackman, I kind of, I brushed over.
It wasn't that bad before his wife died. It's just watching this movie. Obviously they're both bad people. I like Christian Bale's character more of the two, but even splitting it between them, I like the Christian Bale's character that survived at the end more than the other two.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure.
I think later.
Sorry.
I think oh, go ahead.
Sorry, that's what I was telling Gabe though, because I had like this fight with him yesterday. I'm like, yeah, Hugh Jackman was way more evil, way faster. Because if you think about it, he buried what is God. He buried his brother, or Gordon, or Fallon. Yeah, he buried him like alive, like, and after Borden had just, I don't know, like, and he like shot him, and I don't know, I just feel like he got so bad so fast. When you compare what Borden did to Angier, it's just like, I don't think it compares. Like, I don't know, Angier sucked, and both of them sucked.
At one point, go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, I think that because Angier was more of a showman, I think he was inherently a little bit more emotional, and the other guy was a little bit more measured. And I think because of that, he made more rash decisions.
Yeah.
Like when his wife died, he just went AWOL, and his decision making just wasn't the best compared to what's his name's Borden's.
Well, yeah, Christian Bale. I get like at the ending, his reveal of having the two people living the same life, like that's so calculated. He was in control really the entire time. Sort of.
So the thing with the two Christian Bales, one of them actually was pretty rash and aggressive, the one that ended up dying, because he didn't have to. The other one, you could tell, was more passive, didn't want to be into this fight with Angier. Like, whenever the scene where the one kidnaps the double and puts him on that hook thing and takes over his magic show, you could see Fallon sitting in the audience almost rolling his eyes, because clearly he didn't want this to happen.
Yeah.
Also, I think the other one, the not as aggressive one, was the smarter of the two, because whenever Angier brings out this machine and the rash Christian Bale, who I'm going to refer to as Fred from now on, I'll get into that in a second too. Whenever Fred gets really angry, starts yelling at Fallon, how can he outthink you? Not how can he think us, how can he outthink you?
Yeah.
Implying the other one is the smarter of the two, the more...
Jared!
So,
God damn, Jared!
Okay, so...
One more point before I go, Mike.
I wanted to...
Let's get people...
The last thing I want to say is just, I'm a sucker for anything just Tesla related.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just love his shit. But yeah, we'll let Jared talk.
So one more point I want to make about the names while I refer to him as Fred. Their names are Alfred and Fallon, which is literally just Fred and Alan combined in two different formations. Because obviously they're two different people. There are two different people. They have two different names. It's clearly Alan and Fred, in my opinion.
Oh.
That's why Scarlett Johansson called the one Freddy. Because he probably told her to call him that.
Yeah.
Which is why I put him as Fred.
Jared! Holy crap, it's Jared!
Jared's fucking, he's Johnny today.
This is Jared's favorite movie.
Let's see.
This is why I love this movie so much, though. Like, because Because I think that it just gets better after every time you watch it, because it's not like your typical like it's not like a M. Night Shyamalan kind of like, oh, what a twist. Like this movie like does it, I don't know, like it does it super well, like of interwebbing, like this, like these storylines, and it's meticulously composed in the film. Like everything is very chronologically intertwines. I don't know. I think
I like it because it follows the rules it talks about in the beginning of the movie, like how to set up a magic trick, and then the whole movie is just
setting up the magic trick.
Yeah.
All right. Other things I wanted to say. I like something neat to notice. So both men got married at one point or another, and both of their wives died. Think about how they died. The first one's wife drowned, and ultimately he drowned himself like 99 different or 100 different times. And then the other guy's wife, Sarah, she hung herself, and then one of the brothers died by hanging.
Yeah.
Garrett is going all thesis essay on us right now.
Yeah.
No shit.
Jared has thought about this movie a lot.
Interestingly, it wasn't the one who loved her, but it was the one who actually drove her to hang herself because he didn't love her, and he ended up hanging himself. So I find that interesting. Basically what I was doing, I was watching the latest watch through, is paying attention to which Christian Bale was which. Obviously, so I think the one that tied the knot that ultimately killed the one guy's wife was probably the more aggressive one. Now, in his defense, she gave him the nod. She nodded. She basically said to do it.
I don't think he had started the magic trick, or
no, he had definitely had, because that's how he was able to pick up the, I'm not going to say Chinaman's, but the Chinese magician's magic trick, because he had already been living it.
Okay,
and he also said that like he didn't remember which one he nodded. He kept asking him the other brher, and he was like, "I don't remember."
Okay,
he was asking the wrong brother.
See, I thought he started the magic trick when he's talking to his wife, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess it's time I started." I thought that was when he was.
I think this was when they're going to go ahead and use their big new trick to actually get that one, the transporting man. I think they'd been living their entire life, at least for the last few years, as one person.
Okay,
in fact,
interesting.
when he first talks to his wife and she says she won't let him into his apartment, and then she goes in, and then suddenly he's in there, I'm pretty sure they switched at that point.
Yeah.
Like he was already in there.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Interesting.
Oh my God.
Which is really creepy, by the way.
Yeah. We both think she's hot. Let's get her.
That's another thing why they both love the daughter equally, because they have literally no idea which one is actually the father of this child.
Yeah, they both had sex with her. Yeah, they both had sex with her.
Oh.
Yeah, which I'm really glad for at the end of the day. Like, if you're going to live a single life and share it with someone, and you're going to have children, like, I feel like you could not actually know who the parent, because you have to love those children. And I think both Alfred and Freddie, I think that's how we said we were going to refer to them. I think they both like do a really good job of showing how much they love their daughter. So
and one other reason I think that they are less dickish than Angier, simply because when they ruined a couple women's lives, didn't really ruin Scarlett Johansson's, but they hurt two women because they were trying to live half a life each. I don't think they realized that was going to be a problem going in. It was just a problem they discovered after the fact, but they didn't want to ruin the trick. Obviously, they're selfish and they ruined lives, but at the same time, I view them less bad. I felt Angier was always he's the one who started shit, basically. The wife dying was a complete accident. He didn't need to shoot the guy.
Yeah.
And he was aiming for the guy's chest before the gun got knocked out of his hand anyway, too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, you notice, like, I feel like after you watch this movie a few times, like, how much Angier is just, like, I don't know, like, he loses it way faster. Like, and I understand, like, being really upset because he killed his wife, but they show him not giving a shit about his wife very early on in the movie. Like, there's still an hour and, like, 15 minutes left, it feels like, when he announces to Scarlett Johansson that that's no longer about his wife. Like, he doesn't care about his dead wife.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things I want to point out before passing on time, because I want everybody to have turn to talk. So I think the one who got buried was the more aggressive one, because he was clear. Because I think after he got unburied, they immediately switched places and then went to that dinner where he made an ass out of himself in front of their wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the one obviously the less aggressive one is the one that got his finger shot off, and thus they had to cut off the other one's fingers. Because whenever the wife was commenting on that they're still bleeding, he was kind of being a dick to her, so I figured that was the one who didn't really love her that much. I'm sure there's more, but obviously I want to give other people more time, so go ahead and whoever's next.
Okay.
What was your rating? Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, it's 10 out of 10 love.
Woo!
Holy shit, 2 10 out of 10s.
Damn.
Yeah, the
Damn.
other thing, just because you were talking about the two of them, when she's like, when his wife would be like, "Oh, do you mean it today?" It really makes a lot more sense when he would say like, "I love you." Sorry, I don't know if I said that. Because like she could tell that one version of him did actually, and the other one didn't. So it's not like a thing where, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
That was the realization that made me type in the group chat. Oh, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Why she was saying that.
Yeah. I'm still not, like, it's funny because in the movie, I'm still not really, she had something that she was going to tell Scarlett Johansson, Scarlett Johansson's character, and I still want to know, like, did she figure it out? I feel like Sarah did figure it out. Like, I think that's what she was going to tell
I think
Scarlett
there's a
Johansson.
good chance she might have, or at least she at least suspected.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter if you're identical twins. Like, there are things that are going to be different about you. Like physically. Like then.
Yeah, she was in the room where they had all those birds that put into two that looked the same. So maybe that helped her figure it out.
Also, one last thing I'll say. For everybody who's actually seen this movie before, how in the face was it that there was twins in this movie? Like, the first time you watch it,
surprised. I feel like I should have known, but
the first time you watch it, yeah, you're surprised. Everybody else after that, though, how many hints were there in this movie? Because I feel like
There's
there were...
so many hints, but I didn't get them.
So what I'll say is that there were a lot of hints, but in those specific scenes where they had hints, they'll show the hint for a second, but then they'll misdirect it to something else, and the scene will be like
a magic
fucking
trick.
magician show. The whole fucking movie's
that's what's so good about it.
No, but that's the thing is they'll make that scene about that certain thing. They added in that small little thing that you could have noticed, but they misdirected it so that the whole scene is about something else. And
yeah, that's what Michael's saying. It's like this whole movie is a magic trick. Like this, at the very beginning of the movie, Cutter explains the stages of magic tricks, and this is like that's literally like they do that a million times.
They kill Christian Bale, and then what makes the trick good is bringing him back. So and then he's there, and you're like, what the fuck?
Okay, one more thing.
Jesus.
Okay. How about we just go to the next one so we can have somebody else?
Yeah, one more thing, and then someone will go.
Well, I keep hoping you guys move on, but I always get one more in. Christian Bale's makeup. Whenever they had him dress up as somebody else, it was always still really obvious it was Christian Bale, except when he was dressed up as Fallon.
Yeah.
I thought they made it obvious it was Christian Bale the other scenes, just so it'd be more of a surprise when
It's
Fallon...
like showing that Christian Bale really isn't that good at makeup, but actually he is really good at it.
Okay, now please somebody else go.
Okay, so Julie, you've been talking a lot, so we can have Julie go.
Yeah, and I don't really have much more to say because I have been talking a lot. So the one thing that I want to bring up is I didn't know this film was based on a book. I had no idea. Did you guys know that?
Is it
Yes.
called the
It's
same
supposed to
thing?
not be... I think so. It's not supposed to be as good as the movie, but I never read it.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. And I just have a couple of notes. I will say like one negative thing about the movie because I don't have many, but the one negative thing I will say is, like Scarlett Johansson's character is weak. She was the weakest of all the characters, and I thought her accent was really bad.
She did what she had to do.
Quit thinking with your penis, Mike.
Yeah, no, like I mean, she did a great job of being a sultry actress. Like I'm not giving her a bad because of like who she is like or whatever. But I just think that she did a kind of a bad job, and her accent was kind of bad. And I think that Christopher Nolan did a really good job of showcase or getting rid of her shortcomings by making her making the boob shots and everything else like more
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know.
so
The more
pretty.
diversion about it, more camouflage for her bad-ish job, in my opinion. So that's just my opinion, of course.
But she's supposed to be an unlikable character.
I don't think she's. I don't think
I don't think she is.
I don't think she's unlikable.
You're
I don't
supposed to
think.
watch her and be like, "Wow, she's a conniving bitch." But then but in reality,
I completely disagree.
she's being used by both of them. They were both just a tool. So then you're
No,
supposed to take pity on her.
I think Borden loved her. That's
Half of it,
not.
anyway.
Yeah, half of him did. Like Freddie loved her. I kind of agree with what she did. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying her character is bad. I just thought she did kind of a bad job. Because I think that if I were to be, if I would have been in Scarlett Johansson's shoes with Angier, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have done the exact same thing. I would have been like, no, he just sent me away. Like, fuck him. I'm gonna work for you now. Like her motives and everything make complete sense to me. And so I really don't think anything she did was bad. And I think that they made her sultry because she's a very, very attractive female. But she's not, to me, like she's not like some sort of like, I don't know. She's not like a slutty person that I don't like. I think I would have done the exact same thing she did, and she just happened to fall in love with him. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
that's why. That's the only reason why I think that I'm just trying to show that my assessment isn't biased because of my disliking towards her, because I would have done the exact same thing she would have done.
Yeah.
And that is literally my only negative in the entire film. So
what did you give it?
I probably would give it like a 9 and a loved. Like this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Gabe,
It's so good.
Gabe, you've been killing it with these picks, man.
Yeah.
No way for you to say something, babe.
I do want to say one more thing because I saw it on the trivia for the movie. You guys know the Asian magician that they show with the fishbowl? Apparently that's based off of Chung-Lin Soo, which was a real person, a real magician, but he was an American magician that pretended to be Chinese for the drama of being Chinese. For being
and stuff.
being exotic. He's super famous because that bullet catch trick that went wrong, like he died from that. Like he died from the bullet catch trick.
And the only magician who does the bullet trick repeatedly and
Penn and Teller
hasn't died. Penn and Teller.
Yep, I knew that was coming.
They have a 100% like safe bullet trick.
Well, that's good because they're both alive.
Yeah, Penn and Teller's code is just like if like they think it's not moral if they get their audience to think that any harm is going to come to them. They don't want their audience to think that they're going to be harmed.
So I think Christopher Nolan made the smarter choice by having it be a China man pretending to be a limp and not a white guy pretending to be an Asian man.
I mean, but he based it off of Chung-Lin Soo, so you could have argued that it was an American man pretending to be a China man pretending to be crippled. Anyway, as a super small note, apparently the last words of the real live Chung-Lin Soo were, "My God, I've been shot," were his last words to ever say, and the first English he had ever spoken on stage in 19 years. Like, he was able to play that character for 19 years. Anyway, I think that's kind of cool. And the last thing I'll point out is that Nikola Tesla was fantastic. He's so amazing. He's so good.
Yeah, he was really good.
And David Bowie played Nikola Tesla, which is even better.
Was that David Bowie?
That was David fucking Bowie, man. That was David Bowie.
Holy shit. I didn't know that.
So as a super side note, again, for trivia purposes, apparently Christopher Nolan, when he was getting the film together, he imagined David Bowie as being Nikola Tesla, and when he they did the stuff to send it to David Bowie for him to agree to it. David Bowie initially said no and he rejected it, and then Christopher Nolan flew personally to David Bowie saying, "I don't want anyone to play Nikola Tesla except for you, David Bowie. You need to play it. You're going to be the perfect person. You're eccentric. You're exactly what I want." And then David Bowie agreed to it. So, yeah.
I also enjoy that they portrayed Edison as a piece of shit in this movie, because Edison is a piece of shit.
Edison was a piece of shit, and Tesla was a fucking great man that was slandered.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Julie, do you have 7 more things to say, or is that the actual last one?
oh shit.
Between you and Jared.
Get him, Julie.
Just gonna silent like stare right now. Okay, let's go. Let's continue.
Okay, so okay, Garrett, you can talk.
All right. This is the first time I'd seen it. And I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Because the first thing, whenever I watched it, I was thinking that Christian Bale's character, and like, wow, this guy, kind of an asshole, like he killed this woman and doesn't even know how he killed her, doesn't know what knot he tied. And then, as it progresses, Hugh Jackman's character also turns into an asshole. And then you just realize they're both just fucking assholes and really fucked up. And
well, they're just trying. They want to be better than each other, and they're just going at these like extremes to just outdo each other.
Yeah, but like, how fucked up do you have to be to fucking know that you're going to go into a water death every night you do this trick, but you want to do it just because you want to fuck over this other guy?
But I don't know, because you're gonna be safe at the same time.
But like, still, like the mental gymnastics, I feel like are like insane to be able to do that. Just every time you do this trick, knowing, all right, well, I'm gonna die now.
Sorry, I'm thinking about this now, and yeah, when you're first watching it, yeah, you think that Hugh Jackman is more of the good guy, but when you do know that there's 2 people being like Christian Bale. And, okay, the one was an asshole and tied the wrong knot. That's just, like, an accident, like, right? She said she could get out of that knot. So, really, like, that could be her fault as well. So then, the next thing what Hugh Jackman does is tries to shoot him and kill him. And then Christian Bale just, like, I don't know, like, kills a bird and, like, breaks a lady's hand. Where Hugh Jackman tried to kill him. So, like, Hugh Jackman is the bigger asshole. He is the more lazy of the magicians. Yes. Like, Christian Bale is the good guy, but he is portrayed as the bad guy.
Well, Hugh Jackman says that in the film, like, several times. Like, he knows that Borden is the better magician than he is. Like, he is better at the magic stuff than he is. Hugh Jackman's just a better showman. How is Hugh Jackman so rich, by the way? Like, I don't think they really explained that to me.
The 100 shows.
Yeah, I guess he did 100.
No. But before the 100 shows, like, how is he able to pay Nikola Tesla that much and stay in that hotel for so long?
It was his transportation shows.
Also, one thing he said at the end, but Lord Cauldron, or whatever the fuck his name was, he said he's not only is he him, he was always him. And earlier in the movie, he said that didn't want to embarrass his family with his theatrics, which is why he changed his name. He might actually just come from money.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
Holy crap!
Get it!
Wow!
Jeff again.
Jared.
Jared. Fuck. My bad. Jeff didn't do shit.
So anyway, sorry, Garrett. We cut you off.
One thing that did prevent me from giving this a 9 or possibly a 10 was whenever Borden was in prison and was getting hanged. They hanged him with a chain.
Oh my God, Garrett!
It doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't hang someone with a chain. You just do it with a rope.
You know what? Maybe in that time of history in that area, maybe that's how they did it.
No.
Christopher Nolan is pretty in depth with his stuff. I don't think he would fuck that up like that.
I don't know.
It was leather. It was leather around the neck.
Yeah, I mean, the noose was leather, but like the chain was...
They killed him by basically snapping his neck, right?
I don't see, like, what's the difference, Garrett? Like, why can't you do a chain and not
because
a rope?
the rope will give a little bit of leeway whenever you hit the bottom, and that's what snaps the neck. The chain will just be a strict, tight drop.
It's kind of like at least a little bit of a whiplash.
Yeah,
enough to like break your neck.
And it's something to do with how the knot's tied or something.
It's extremely limited bungee.
Got it.
Whereas the chain wouldn't have any give.
Well, abracadabra, Garrett. They used to. He still died.
Garrett, I think that's such like a little thing to be like.
Yeah.
2 whole points gone.
I mean, obviously, it was a joke.
I think Garrett could take a little pride in it, considering he took some torture classes. That's probably how he noticed it. So.
Yeah, that's the only reason I would said this. I did take a torture class.
Ever hang people with chains?
I'm almost positive they never did.
Go on,
It was
Garrett.
never talked about. Anyway, because England was huge about hanging people. Like, that was almost solely the primary form of execution there. Anyway, other things about the movie. I did enjoy that they were each reading from the diary of each other in like the first parts of the movie, and then at the end of each journal, it's just like, "Hey, fuck you, I got you."
Yeah.
Other things about the movie. I don't know. I think everything's been said or enlightened by Jared. So I don't know if I have anything else to say.
Okay. Quick little note. Christopher Nolan is like one of the greatest directors, writers of our time. I really think so. Like, every movie he does is just so good. But yeah, we can let Jeff talk.
Thanks for that side note.
I just
Michael.
wanted to get that out there. Like, I meant to say that at the beginning, but like, yeah, like every movie he does is just fucking great.
All I know is that Christopher Nolan really needs to get his eyebrows threaded.
Oh my god! Now I gotta Google him. So let's let Jeff talk.
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10, and I thought it was a really enjoyable movie, but after talking about it, I wouldn't really I'd maybe watch it once more, but then I would definitely not watch it a third time. Because movies like these, where it relies on the trickery and like the big surprises, while I do really enjoy those movies, I don't think that they have as much rewatchability as other movies. Like, sure, you can still rewatch them and find more clues and things they didn't see previous, but after a certain point, you see everything, you see all, the whole ruse, and there's nothing really left to enjoy from it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's how I feel about like the M. Night Shyamalan movies and stuff. I do think this movie is slightly different than those.
Yeah, I mean, this movie does have a lot more than just that. Like, there's the story to it. I thought it was really interesting, really, really well done. Yeah, they were both just fucking assholes. When the point that turned me against Hugh Jackman's character was when he was like, "I don't care about my wife anymore." I was like, all right, they're both just dicks.
That's a really crazy scene, because he says it in anger, and then like I guess it hits him, and he just like kind of stops talking.
Yeah.
But he realizes like how dickish she is, because he still is like, okay, wait, I still like really want his notebook. Like I'm
Yeah.
And he's like, "What have I become?" He's like, "Fuck it, let's go."
I think
he's always talking like, "Oh, I still love her. I got to get revenge to her," and then he's just straight up just like, "Nah, I don't fucking care about that anymore."
It's because at that point, I'm pretty sure he's cared about being the better magician, but he never really was. So he kept trying and kept trying, but until he had to go to such an extreme length as killing himself every night.
He's a better showman, but he just sucks at magic. Oh, this movie is so good, man.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
Like, I honestly don't think that he felt bad. Like, when he's with Scarlett Johansson and he reveals that, I don't think, like, I know he takes a pause and he's just like, and he, like, I think he realizes how awful he sounds, but I don't think he feels bad, like, at all. Like, I think that that's really how that character felt.
Yeah.
I think he
He might have felt bad. He might just not realize it until he said it, though.
I think with his personality, him being the showman, being able to, wow people, ruse them for all these tricks and everything, is the type of personality that can get disinterested in things quickly. He's just I just feel like his personality makes sense that he would be over his wife like that quick. I mean, that sounds bad, but that's like, it makes sense with everything about his personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff. Continue.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I really don't have much to say about it, I guess.
Yeah.
I was pretty. I figured, like right when I saw the machine, like the machine that Tesla was building, like the first scene where he put the hat in it, I immediately knew. I was like, okay, it's gonna either teleport someone or like make another one of them. And then when I saw like the group of hats or whatever and the cats, I was like, okay, now I know what he's going to use this for. And so I knew that half of the ending, but I didn't see the twin part coming up for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't see that.
Well, that
was opposite for me, Jeff. That's so strange. So early on in the movie, like maybe like halfway through the movie, I figured out like the twin thing. But like it did not. Until I saw the bunch of hats, I was like, "What is going on?"
Let's take a quick poll then. Before the very end, or at least close to the very end, who knew about the twin thing? Because I didn't either. Anybody else? No,
I didn't.
Yes.
I don't think I can really say because I saw it so long ago, and that's the one thing I remembered was the machine was making clones.
He was talking. I mean, like this is really far, but like he was talking to his other brother, like when they were taking him to go get hung. Like he was like, "Live your life. You can finally like be yourself or whatever."
That was within the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that's the last 5 minutes of the movie, Johnny.
But like, there was other parts where you figured out too.
But like, he could have just been saying that to his friend that like has been like literally silent around him, helping him with his magic. Now he's like, you know what, you're free.
Suspicious in any way.
I feel like the only point where you could have actually known, other than having watched it multiple times, is whenever he says, "How could he outthink you?" That's when you should have like clicked in your head, "Oh, he's the magician too." So
I just figured.
I didn't even realize it at that point. I was just like, "Oh, his boss is just really smart." I guess.
No, I just thought. I
didn't
thought
figure it
that
out.
he was just like his version of Alfred, the butler from Batman.
Yeah,
same here.
What I thought. I thought that there was because Alfred built all the traps for Hugh Jackman, and I was like, okay, they're the brains, and then the other people are showmen.
Johnny, all I want to say is you were the only one who figured it out.
Yeah, well, there was no introduction for the guy, so there's just this stranger walking around with Christian Bale. It's like you have to put some attention on the guy and try to figure out his character.
Well,
I legit thought it was because they couldn't find a high class enough character like Hugh Jackman. You know, the fucking big names. The Cutter is the fucking Alfred guy, and I was like, they couldn't find a popular enough actor, so they just kind of fucking put him in the background of the movie to introduce him.
They used all the money on Hugh Jackman.
They had no more budget left.
Honest to God, I thought that was the reason.
Can't get a homeless guy off the street.
To go
It's like, why does this guy not have any lines in the whole movie?
Yeah, he talks the first scene, and that's it.
Yeah.
He does? He talks the first scene?
Yeah, when Sarah comes in, he says something. I don't remember exactly what.
So the whole thing with like the machine being super immoral and stuff, like they don't really get into it. Like
solve world hunger.
I think it would be more immoral if he was using these clones to do stuff, but the fact that he just like instantly kills them over and over again, like I don't really think it's that bad.
It's kind of bad, but at the same time, it's in a weird territory because it's an uncharted territory.
Extremely fucked up.
I guess you can't really talk about making a perfect clone because that's something that just has not been done.
Okay, on the subject of the machine, though, just everybody's opinion on this real quick. Now, is it a cloning machine that happens to put the clone where you specify, or is it a teleportation machine that happens to leave a clone behind?
Does it have to be one or the other?
Well,
I think it's
That's like a major part of the movie, though. Like the fact I can't answer that question, Jared, because like that's exactly like that's me not knowing. Because Angier says at one point, I don't know if I'm going to be the man in the box or the man like in the Prestige. Like he never knows.
Because you wouldn't know because you're both conscious. You both have the same memories. What I think if I had to choose, I would say it's a teleporter that leaves a copy behind.
In which case, the real one died the first time the machine was used. Because he's the one that got shot.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
I don't think that's the case. I think it makes the clone.
You think it sends the clone somewhere
Yeah,
else?
that one to me makes more sense too.
Yeah.
In which case, then the original dies every time.
Yes.
But the machine was built, right, to try to teleport people. So that's why I would say it's a teleporter and the side effect is that it leaves a clone.
Wow.
Or it copies and pastes.
Essentially.
I don't think it matters because it's.
It doesn't, of course, but
It's an interesting topic.
Your schematics.
Okay, so Jeff, were you done?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll closer time, Jonathan.
Okay. I'll rate this 8 out of 10. Love. That definitely piqued my interest. The whole dramatic ending at
You
the
sound
very
like
end.
you don't want to give it an 8 out of 10.
What? No. I've just been thinking about all your. No, I really loved it.
Okay.
I
You sound
really
like
did.
you're like, I guess
Sounded
I'll go.
very neglected.
He's
Like,
no.
thinking of
I
his
was
words,
trying to-
guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I need to say.
okay.
Gabe and Michael take turns, and Jeff take turns of being Johnny's #1 defender. No one can fuck with Johnny.
I always
He
get
needs
someone on
that,
my
he needs that
back.
position filled all the time.
All right. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys discussed this or not because I had to take a phone call at the beginning. But why was Alfred or not Alfred?
Michael Caine,
Cutter.
Cutter.
No. Oh wait, Cutter, the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Why was he nodding at Christian Bale at the very end, understanding that everything, he knew he was there? Were they working together? I didn't understand that.
I thought Cutter was working with him the entire time, and that was part of his ultimate trick.
I think what happened was he got so pissed off at Angier that when he saw that Christian Bale was still alive, he's like, all right, this is okay. He knew that there had to be a double. He knew that there was something in this trick. Obviously, he doesn't know exactly what happened, but he sees Christian Bale there. He thinks, okay, good for you. You're alive. Have your daughter. You won.
I think. Well, maybe he also, because I think, as we said earlier, I think he realized it once he tried to buy the machine and he found out at Mr. Caldro, and I think from that moment on, maybe he felt like, because it felt like Cutter was the one who, well, maybe I'll take this back. Maybe he was the one that was the principled magician for magic's sake and everything, and maybe he felt like Angier kind of, did something unspeakable towards magic or something, and was like, since you broke the code, quote unquote code, screw you.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I was thinking. I assumed because that Angier started cloning himself that he was almost playing God at that point, and it just the older guy just didn't like that idea of it, and so he. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Cutter came to Hugh Jackman's character first because he liked him more because he seemed more rational and so Christian Bale talked about catching the bullet and Cutter wasn't into that. So then he went to Hugh Jackman. And so Hugh Jackman at first was like, I don't want to kill birds. So Cutter really appreciated that or whatever, respected that. But then I guess he slowly starts losing respect for him. Yeah, as he goes more and more into his madness or whatever. And then I guess when he has this cloning machine, it's like you've lost your fucking mind. You're not even a magician anymore. See you later. Huh. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. That's really the only thing that stuck with me. Like at the end was just the confusion of why he was helping one and not the other anymore. Like he just kind of switched sides. It was really interesting to see like the interchanging secondary actors that kind of just flip-flopped between the two, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman.
Did you appreciate Scarlett Johansson as much as I did, Johnny?
How did you appreciate her?
I thought she was very good in this movie. I thought she looked really good.
You thought she looked really good? Yeah, she did. She looked great, dude.
She looked good. Yeah. She kind of just fell out of this plot. Like,
yeah,
when he went crazy, she just kind of left.
I'm assuming she just got fired or quit
that last
from both
scene
of...
is like not that impactful.
Yeah.
Like she did not do Scarlett Johansson did not do as good of a job as this era.
It just made an interesting point at the end that like it was like, did the wife know or not? Was kind of the main question that ended on that part.
Also, I think it's just because when she saw his reaction to his wife's death, how he didn't even seem to care, she realized she isn't a person that she wanted to be with anymore, so she kind of just left.
Yeah, I think she just kind of...
Obviously, it could have been a little bit better, but again, this was 2006. Scarlett Johansson was probably just coming on the scene really back then.
Yeah, and she was. That's why I'm not gonna make her like a bunch of flack. Like I just think that if I was gonna point out a badness in the movie, it's gonna be that.
I think she just disappears because like she just was done with both of them and just quit. So then she's not around anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I think that's kind of... I just wanted questions answered. I don't really have anything...
You don't have anything super insightful? Well, I guess you saw the clones before the reveal, right? Or not the clones, the double.
Which is really surprising to me.
It just
I'm impressed with you.
He's got that mind, you know? He's got that artist
And they were
mind.
trying to enforce it in your mind that it wasn't that the whole time.
From a design perspective, I did realize that like how the illusionist, you know how I told you guys that it was kind of sepia, like a yellow tint to the movie, but then as it progressed, it kind of kept getting brighter as his life progressed. This one was kind of it had that, like it was a sepia tinted movie all throughout until Hugh Jackman got to Tesla, which was that vibrant blue. And that stuck with Hugh Jackman, and I think it kind of showed the contrast between the two of the magicians. And I think it was just that like electrifying energy that he's just gone too far, and just he's a mad scientist. Put it simply, like it was just over the top and unnecessary, and he just kept killing himself for the show. But
yeah, no, I didn't even notice that. That's cool.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else to add? No? Okay, so the person who was supposed to pick is not here. So who's the next oldest?
It's gonna be Jeff. Jeff, do you have anything?
Jeff, do you have anything?
I've got a lot of things, but John, what was the movie? What was the? You know what? Let's just have John go this week, and I'll go the week afterwards.
So okay, so Johnny, what's the movie for next week?
All right. I have a few of them that I really want you guys to watch, but I'm not sure who's all watched them. So my top one, About Time. Have any of you guys heard of that?
Holy
shit! That was gonna be my next movie, Johnny. That was gonna be my next movie.
Really?
Scared me. Julie scared me.
Johnny, that was gonna be my next movie. Johnny, please make them watch it. Don't listen to anyone else's opinion right now. Just let them watch it.
But no, but Julie, if Julie's gonna pick it, then you don't have to pick it.
What were your other movies?
Yeah.
No, fuck them, Johnny. Fuck them, Johnny.
Hold on, Julie.
Johnny, you don't have to waste one of your picks because it's going to get picked.
Yeah.
Like I had other ones, but that was my top one that I was hoping no one was gonna see.
It looks like a rom-com. What's your other choices?
Dude, it's a fantastic movie. I desperately think you'll love this movie, Michael.
Has anyone else besides Julie seen it?
Crickets. All right. What was it called? About Time.
Gabe,
Garrett
you haven't
has not
seen it?
Garrett.
No, I haven't
Got
seen
a
it. I was just
girl with
wondering.
perfect teeth
Gabe-
laughing in the rain.
Gabe hasn't seen it.
No,
Okay.
I
Is
saw it
that
for
Daenerys?
myself.
That looks
Wow.
kind of like Daenerys.
All right, we're watching that.
No, what was your other choices? I'm interested.
What was your other choices? Because Julie will pick this one next week.
No, I won't. No.
No, we should do this one.
I know a lot of you guys have probably seen Gladiator.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with About Time.
And then Baby Driver is gonna be my other one.
Yes.
Oh, Baby
Okay,
Driver's
I'll-
good.
I'll-
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll watch About Time.
Bam. The Fundamentals of Caring was another one.
Johnny, I'm so happy with you. Like, I'm just like your biggest fan now. Because I
Do
was
you want to
so
be the
sad.
defender?
I was so sad when because I chose Trick or Treat because because it's October, but I'm just so happy.
And I believe it's on Netflix.
Oh, please. Let something be on Netflix.
It's on HBO now or
Buy
go.
these movies.
It is on HBO now. It is worth it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll hit it.
Time. Nope, it's not on Netflix for me. All right, well, watch About Time for next week. Comment, rate, subscribe. Go to Put Locker.
Mike,
HBO.
why do you say rate, Mike? How are they rating our videos?
That's just like an old YouTube thing. I don't know why I
Comment,
keep
like,
saying it. I
subscribe.
don't know why I keep saying it. I'm sorry.
Comment, like, subscribe.
We'll see you next time. Say
Bye.
bye. Say bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.